Have a seat.
Good evening, and I hope you're all able to find seats, comfortable ones. We welcome you here this evening to Simon Fraser University's downtown campus at Harbor Center. My name is Catherine Murray. I'm lucky to be your host for this evening, and I would like to extend a welcome to our 7th annual Spry Memorial Lecture Series featuring Zacharias Kunuk, the director and producer of the astounding feature film Atanarjuat, the Fast Runner. Over 20 years ago, Zacharias brought the first video camera to Igloolik and watched all the community gather around. Since then, he has produced and directed almost 30 documentary and dramatic films. The community origins of his craft remain. It is fair to say that the village of Igloolik has raised the child Atanarjuat. Since 1991, Zacharias has been president and co-founder of Izumo Productions, Canada's first Inuit-owned independent production company dedicated to creating Inuit community-based media production. Many of you will have seen on the table on admission the announcement that Izumo is releasing the soundtrack and companion book to the film at the end of this month, so it's very good news indeed. The Spry Memorial Series was created in 1996 by an endowment from the friends and family of the late Graham Spry, one of the pioneer figures of Canadian public broadcasting. The Spry series is offered by Simon Fraser University in partnership with the University of Montreal every year. This lecture tonight is the third in Vancouver's program this year, following a screening of Atanarjuat and a master class with Zacharias among students and local filmmakers. I would like to acknowledge at this time the superb support of the Office of the President, the Dean of the Faculty of Applied Sciences, the School of Communication, and particularly Denise Center and Sue Jameson at SFU for making this event possible. We would also like to acknowledge the excellent assistance of the Chief Dan George Center for Advanced Education and also the Arctic Museum Society for being such generous hosts to Zacharias. We are honored that Mr. Kunuk has been able to join us after what has surely been a whirlwind of international acclaim, following his film's winning of the Camera d'Or at Cannes last year, a number of Geminis, and over 15 other international awards from festivals as far away as Edinburgh and Toronto. When I speak for all of those who attended the earlier events, I say we are in the presence of a truly great storyteller, and one who is taking the traditions of the elder in Inuit culture to new vistas. This year is the 50th anniversary of CBC TV, something Graham Spry would have celebrated and used as a platform for social activism. What is the place of our Aboriginal people in Canadian TV today? In Graham Spry's day, they were an important reason for the creation of public broadcasting. Spry believed that without the Canadian state and the creation of our public broadcaster, the CBC, our original ancestors would have no hope in a sea of American popular culture any more than any other community across Canada. He was around for the creation of the Northern Native Broadcasting Program, and he applauded it. He would be shocked to discover there is still just one CBC radio network in the North, but cautiously optimistic that much of the responsibility for original production of documentary and news has devolved to the separate Inuit Broadcasting Corporation, or the Aboriginal People's Television Network, APTN. Such devolution for creators in special minority broadcasting would, in Graham Spry's view, however, be no substitute for a healthy general public broadcaster who is specially charged with representing cultural minorities in Canada to mainstream culture. Yet a recent study entitled Silent on the Set conducted by SFU School of Communication, found almost no Aboriginal representation in a sample of over 70 hours of primetime drama last year. Since the demise of the CBC's North of 60 TV series, our Aboriginal communities as fictional places have entirely disappeared from our screens. Not only have we let the budgets of the CBC dwindle, but our public broadcaster is not the place for public storytelling it could be. The CBC today has little role in initiating films in Canada. You will discover tonight that the CBC placed no money in Fast Runner and made only a loose commitment to air it. We are still waiting for the CBC to exhibit Fast Runner. The debate is over its length and something Mr. Kunuk is at great pains not to sacrifice. To quote the Fast Runner's co-producer, Nathan Cohen, realistically, when people ask us what was challenging about our film, we don't talk about the weather, we talk about the politics. What it was like to convince the Canadian system and the world system that a bunch of Inuit video makers at the end of the world could make a world-class movie if they had the chance. There are a number of unique paradoxes about the Fast Runner. The film did not gain widespread public attention in Canada until after it won at Cannes. And still today, there are more movie reviews from international sources than there are at home. It has still not received widespread theatrical release here. Yet according to Mr. Richard Stursberg, the new president of Telefilm Canada, the public agency responsible for investing in film, Atanarjuat, the Fast Runner, is one of just 3 Canadian movies to pass 1 million at the box office in the past 3 years. The other two, for those of you of interest, are Men with Brooms by Robert Lantos and Hollywood Bollywood, a remarkable commentary on the changing cinema in Canada. We obviously have a great deal to learn in English Canada about growing a distinct cinematic or televisual culture. Is this because we all too often think like cultural accountants rather than artists? This would not be the outcome early pioneers of public broadcasting like Graham Spry or Alan Plante would want. And it is important for citizens and community groups to change the very way we talk about the importance of public, non-commercial culture. Zacharias' mission, like that of Aboriginal artists, is a big one. To quote Ruby Truly, a director and independent video producer from the Kootenays, who I believe is present here tonight, who attended the masterclass, as artists, we are myth makers of who we are as a people. We hold these myths in our family stories, passed down through time from mother's tongue to son and in our fiction. We hold them in poems and in our music. We hold them in our paintings and in our pottery, in our tapestries and in our sculpture. We hold them in our dance and in our drama, in our photography and in our video. We hold these myths in the work that is inspired by tradition, as well as that which is fueled with an urgency to experiment and explore. It is work that comments and work that questions. It is work that explodes with triumph, screams with grief, staggers with wonder, and crumbles with humility. We are the myth makers of who we are as a people, and we constantly place and replace that myth into the world. And what we create becomes a part of a vast and diverse vocabulary, instantly familiar in a visceral way, like in our bones, and through which we communicate our myth in a large and public arena at the very same instant, with a very intimate, personal, and private connection to the heart. I thank you for that quote, and I thank you for attending tonight. We have asked Mr. Kunuk to share with us his dream of growing the art of storytelling for his Inuit people, and it is my very great pleasure to present Mr. Zacharias Kunuk.
Church and I'm the minister. Okay, prepared something with my colleagues. I was born in a sad house on the land. My mother would be telling these stories like Atanarjuat to put us, my brothers and sisters sleeping side by side to sleep. I used to use my hammocks as my pillow, and I would wake up, they would be frozen, and I would put them on and they thaw out. And I was learning, my father was a hunter and he had dogs, and he would be harnessing his dogs, and I had one dog that he couldn't catch, so he would, my mother would wake me up and go get your dog. And I would go, and the dog was friendly only to me, and I would give it to my father. So I was dreaming that I would be a hunter one day, but at the age of 9, my parents finally got the message, why aren't your kids in school? Kids in Canada at the age of 5, they're in school, and here I was, 9 years old. So that was my worst day, and going to there's no TV in Igloolik I came to Igloolik in 1966. There was no TV in Igloolik. We kept voting TV out twice because there was no, CBC had no innovative programming. We used to go to our community hall, which had 60mm movies. And at the age of 12, I started doing sculpture. So I would try to finish it before the show time, and filing away and try to sell it to my teachers. And because it cost a quarter to get it, and I would sometimes be late, but most of the time I made it. And watching cowboys and Indians and John Wayne in the cavalry, and I was watching this movie one evening, and John Wayne was my man, and we were in the fort, and he sent out scouts, and like I was one of the soldiers, and they didn't come back, so we went out, and they were dead. Our soldiers and horses would have arrows everywhere, and what kind of Indians did this? And because I was thinking like those soldiers, as I got older and saw myself as an Aboriginal person, I learned that there's two sides to every story. And as I got older, I doing good in substone, carving for more money. Now I could own 35mm cameras, experimenting with different types of cameras. So one day in 1980, I heard that you could own, any breathing person could own a moving picture camera. And that was the day I decided I gotta have one. And my carving buddy, who also played Atanarjuat, we did 2-week carving, and we flew down. And I traded my carving for a Betamax camera, a Portapack, and a VCR, and I bought myself a 26-inch TV. And because I wanted to record, I would watch my father. He would go hunting, come home with his hunting buddies and drink tea and tell these terrific stories, and I wanted to capture it. So I tried filming, and even though my camera said color, it was black and white for 2 months because there was just a little button that with just a color balance that I missed. And every night I would try to play my tape through my TV. I noticed kids playing outside would be stuck to my window watching my TV. And some nights I would just start to realize there's a lot of kids in my house watching TV. Yeah, the power of TV. Since I was already trying to do it on my own, and Inuit Broadcasting Corporation was starting in 1982, Paul Appick, our late screenwriter, was the only person working. He hired me, and I learned a lot from him. Our center was run in the Ottawa office. The IBC had an Ottawa office. They run everything, and the finance department is in Ottawa and on. And in 8 years with the corporation, I became a station manager. But in my 8 years, in 1985, there was a camera seminar happening in a nearby community, acclaim, and I never had any formal training. So I flew down, the corporation flew me down, and I met this guy who was training camera, Norman Cohn. And that's when I met my partner, and I flew back with him and became with him, and since we've been married for 17 years. And in the corporation, there was no room for drama because they never had any money to do that. And Norman Cohn introduced the Canada Council to us, and we applied, and we got our first Canada Council grant in 1985. We made a short video from Inuit point of view, which today we still haven't subtitled. I had to do these on holiday and leave without pay. I started doing my own projects with my team. My team was Norman Cohn, Paul Appick, and Paul Holik. We also made Khargip in 1988, and in 1999 we decided that Inuit Broadcasting Corporation is not the place for our goals, and we broke off, and we made a first independent Inuit video production company, Isuma, we call it, because when you're doing all these sorts, you have to do a lot of thinking, and Isuma means to think. These same four partners are as shareholders. We started to recreate the past, because since when we used to work for Inuit Broadcasting Corporation, we would visit elders, and they would tell terrific stories, and when you get down to the editing table, you have no footage. So to make it was our goal. And when we got to doing Nunavut series, and then the next ambitious project to do was to do a feature length, and Paul Appick decided that we would do Atanarjuat, because we all grew up with this story, and once it was told to you, you never forgot that naked man running out on the ice. Yeah, we all heard this story. And now it was the first time with new technology that since TV came, everybody stopped visiting one another. It was time to put these stories through TV. Yeah, we started to write Atanarjuat in 1995. We did not shoot until 1999 because it was very hard to get funding. CBC and Telefilm did not believe in us. The writing team turned the story into a professional script. Appick, me, Norman, Kolik, and Panel, writing every day for 2 months. We also consulted with a script writer, Anne Frank, from Toronto. Then we submitted to Telefilm in 1998, but refused us. The Aboriginal Language Fund was too small, no space for Inuit in the national system. It took us all year arguing for that space in the national system. Finally, we got approved by National Film Board and Telefilm Canada, and we started to shoot in 1999. And editing was in 2000. Our first premiere was in Iqaluit, December 2000. 6 months shooting from April to September. We went to the actual location where the story happened, and we did it in the Inuit style production. Of course, actors had to learn their characters, following a script in all kind of weather, and the sun is always changing. Food, we hired hunters to hunt for us so we could eat because we had no catering trucks in the Arctic. Inuit style teamwork, the usual way of films are made. Every time, we work horizontal, and the film style would be a military style. We would be talking how we're going to shoot this with my art directors down to my sound man. We put the whole community to work. Costumes, props. We had a $2 million budget and $1 million paid to the people of Iqaluit. People learned to practice their own culture, language. And of course, we had no styrofoam igloos. Everything was authentic, handmade. We are storytellers, 4,000 years in passing the stories to our youth. Yeah, and we had we saw other films being made about the North. And, you coming from the culture, you see your women see oil lamp and the other way around, and the production doesn't really care, just as I said. And one time I saw our seal oil lamp was a torch like the Olympic flame. We tell our stories from an Inuit point of view. First screening in Iqaluit right after the mix in December 2000 was my scariest moment. Because we finally put it on the table to the people that we are making, because we had no theaters in Iqaluit, and we found the biggest room we could find, which was a gymnasium. We bought a video projector, a widescreen. We put 400 chairs. When we opened the gym, kids were running, pouring in. When they were sitting on the floor, elders were sitting, and people were standing in the back for almost 3 hours. Sometimes we were silent, sometimes we laughed, then silent again. And when the credits rolled, people were clapping and crying and shaking our hands. And that day I knew that we did our job right. For 3 screenings each night, about 500 people came each night out of 1,200 people. Inuit loved it, kids loved it, and kids were even playing Atanarjuat on the street. Every household in Iqaluit had a copy of the video. 10 other communities, we sent their co-op stores some VHS copies. We made 1,000 VHS copies and distributed throughout Nunavut. Nunavut doesn't have a theater system. This was only the fastest way that they wouldn't be left out when we launched it. After screening in Igloolik, we transferred to 35mm film. Our company, Isuma, took the risk of $100,000, no help from Terrafilm or NFB. We believed that the outside audience would like the film, but no one else believed in us. First subtitle film print ready to submit to Cannes in March 2001. Cannes chose the film and we won the Camera d'Or. But we still didn't have any Canadian distributors. We won other prizes, Scotland, Belgium, Toronto, nominated for 8 Genies, Canadian Choice for Oscars, CBC and Alliance Atlantis. Other distributors still dragged their feet. Finally got CBC and Alliance to sign 6 months after Cannes. Signed separate deals with UK, France, US, and Netherlands. UK and French release in February 2002. A big success. France sold 250,000 tickets. One of the top foreign language films of the year. Canadian release also successful, 1.3 million box office on less than 30 prints. US release started in June, still going on. 23 straight weeks, top 60 North American films. Sold to 30 other countries, playing now in Australia, New Zealand, Czech Republic, Norway, Denmark, opening in Germany, Russia, and Japan. First of all, it was a really good film. Exciting, entertaining, action, loud sex, good camera work, good music. Why not? People didn't know, didn't believe that these guys don't know what they're doing, but we had professional experience. APAC had 20 years, I had 20 years, Norman Cohn had 30 years in making professional video before the word digital film got started. Our legend is a universal story, love, jealousy, murder, revenge, forgiveness, same for everybody, everywhere. Not like Hollywood film, shot, acted, edited in our own style. Everything authentic, audience really get the story. People seems to want different points of views, different way of seeing. Same old stereotypes about native people, seem fake and boring to audience. Nah, that's not that. Okay, I'm going to talk about a little bit about what I'm working on right now. What we are working on right now. Right now, we are working on a short documentary on shamanism and Christianity, because when Christianity came, we were told to forget your old way of life, become new. And we started to realize our young people growing up, they thought that square dancing was an Indian culture thing. It was just the way that brought it. We were just waking up, we were just trying to wake up audience and get the story right. How has Inuit filmmaking changed in the past 20 years? Hasn't changed much. IBC is still the same, probably disappeared more. If it weren't for us, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea how it would be today. Absolutely no idea. CBC is the main broadcaster in radio up in the north. It broadcasts in Inuktitut. But there seems to be nothing, if you don't work for the corporation, there's hardly anything for our use. IBC ratings have gone down a lot, and also since this new Aboriginal television network started. Inuit politicians and critics kept saying over the radio that what happened to us, where is Inuit programming? It is in APTN, but nobody probably doesn't know their time slots. In 1982, 84, when Inuit broadcasting started out, there was a whole bunch of us that we thought, oh, it was great for Inuit Broadcasting Corporation, and I would give my left arm for it. And I went to work, but 8 years working there, I couldn't do it. Then when we started, there were very promising filmmakers, which we got the message that once we started to learn that one day we're going to be director of the corporation. That never happened. That stayed in Ottawa. It has never changed. So a lot of us promising starters went to work somewhere else. That's very sad for me. I guess I'm there. But as being a filmmaker in Canada, especially being way up there, when you try your first attempt and it was not fair in 1995 when we went after funding as Canadians, as tax-paying Canadians, we thought that we would be treated the same everywhere because we were part of Canada. It was a shocking experience to find, and I hope we never have to go through that again. I'm done.
What is also really fascinating is he travels with the video camera and constantly has it on. And probably is just wishing that he were able to turn the camera back on you today. What I'd like to suggest is that we do begin a brief period for question and answer. And what I'm going to do is set up Zacharias over here on a chair so you can relax. And I'll move this over, or we'll try. And suggest that we can open for questions from the audience. Now I have two excellent volunteers who will be pleased to move the microphone to wherever you would like to be. We have, yes, down in front. Please introduce yourself and state your question.
Hi, my name is Allison, and my question has to do with distribution. And I was just wondering if, Zacharias, you had any hope for the distribution of the film to happen in Canada, prior to the release, at the Vancouver Film Festival where I first saw the film, or what happened along that path.
Question about distribution and aside from the festival, I hope we have better distribution. Is that fair?
I'm terrible in this field. I'm good at making it. Distribution is another thing. It's a job description. I know that after talking for 1 year and promoting this film and trying to watch sell agents, and it's a very corrupt system. I would stick to making movies, not distribution. Another reason why our company started our own distribution, because you gotta watch those wolves out there. There's a lot of them.
Do we have another question? Yes, I think up in the middle. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I'm really curious about the documentary about shamanism and Christianity that you were mentioning, and wondering where you're at in the production of that and how we might get access to it.
Okay, we're still in the editing stage. We already shot it. Since Christianity came up north, they used shamanism as in opposition, made it really look bad, but and also young people are very interested in this subject, and the subject is close because religion is Catholics and Anglicans run the subject. A few years ago, it was almost banned to tell stories, or to do even a drum dance. But now it's slowly coming back. It's still a very touchy subject, but the only way I'm doing my part to try to bring it back through TV, interview elders and how. Our elders are telling me that it was not all bad. Some of it was good. Some of them saved lives and helped the sick, and they were telling me, and I started to realize that shamans used to kill evil spirits, evil spirit that made people sick or blizzard or something evil. And they used to kill them. But since 100 years, we haven't touched them. And they were saying that the longer they are here, the smarter they are, harder to kill. So then I thought, we got a lot of overtime to do.
Thank you. Another question, I believe, on the left.
My name is Ashley, and I just wonder if there were any other practical considerations of filming in the Arctic that are not the same as we would have here. You mentioned hunting instead of, or having to hire hunters to feed the crew rather than having the big trucks for catering. Were there any other things that were different and unusual challenges for you?
My hometown. That leaves a call because we're shooting in the 6th warmest month. The only problem I had was continuity. The sun is always moving, the sun is always moving. Even though we have a 24-hour sunlight shooting 2 o'clock in the morning, the sun really moves.
Yes, I have a question down here at the front. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Carol, and you mentioned earlier that when you were younger you would film your father as he was telling legends and telling stories when he would come back from hunting. And I'm wondering if you're going to be making more films using some of those legends that you recorded from him.
I'm even scared to touch my high-8 footages. Because once you start playing with those, they start to lose generation. I have a lot of that in my library, hoping that maybe as technology gets better, that I would try to go right away to DB.
I'd just like to also note that, of course, Zacharias' eldest son was one of the creative team on Atanarjuat, and he's now currently working on his own film. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm rather, whoever you recommend, Sue, over far left, I think.
Hello, my name's Corey, and I don't know how to propose this as a question, but first of all, I could tell you how much to have you here speaking like you are really moves my heart, just like the film did. You're a hero, and I'm truly amazed and honored to be in your presence, hear you speak in person, come all this way to do this. It's real beautiful of you. Thank you. I'm also an actor, and I have been for 10 years in Vancouver, and I've been finding out about the wolves in the industry, and so therefore I'm learning about stories in my own life that I want to tell, and how hard it is to come through with what it is in your heart, that's important, that is universal, that can be of importance, that can help unite us in the way that your film managed to do for me. I'm just amazed at what you accomplished, and how you, the Creator, the good Lord, has brought so much blessings to you. I'm trying to find a way in my life to write my story. I guess I'm trying to ask how to begin. I know there's a million crazy ways, and it's just hard to figure out where the hell do you start.
I just wanted to tell you that I just do my job as part of this company. My job is to go out there and stories are everywhere. Stories like you gotta have interest in these stories. I had an interest in shamanism for a long time, and I wanted to do it. And I wanted to do it, and I've been searching over the years how am I going to do it. And finally, this year I did a short. Teamwork and commitment. It's how we.
Yes, I have a question down at the front here, please.
I can shout.
Yeah, shouting is good.
In the original story, of Atanarjuat, and with peace, or was it the old legend ending in bloodbath?
Paul Habeck talked, and we all changed the ending. In the ending, in original story. And when they're fighting inside the ice eagle, he smashes his head. Paul felt that that doesn't make any sense. That's going to go on and on and on. And we also knew that they used to just send people away instead of killing them. And that was better ending. So we chose that. And he even asked to the elders, is it our right to change the end? And I remember one of the elders telling him, we're storytellers.
I think there's a question up there in the orange shirt.
Thank you. My name is Jeff. And first, I'd like to make a wonderful movie, and then I'd like to ask how you conquered some of the technical aspects of filming in such a cold climate, or what things might come up.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? How you
Dealt with some of the cold
Dealt-
conditions that you were filming in.
How did we dealt with the cold? Like I said, we were working in this warm 6 months for the video camera. And at -30, you could take the video camera out and you get good to maybe 10 minutes before your viewfinder freezes. We had a lot of ways to keep the camera warm. Sometimes when we were going to shoot inside the igloo, we would put our camera into a plastic bag and just get it temperatured. Just wait for a couple of hours and it's the right temperature. And we had to deal with these because when you're shooting out in the cold, you cannot just accidentally bring your camera in or concentration will do the damage. So we would bag it first before we put it into a warm house.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Jared. Thank you very much for your film. I'm wondering if any of your previous films or videos are available in subtitle versions, and whether there's a way to see them.
Yeah.
Subtitle
Yes. There.
from a single website?
Yes.
The easiest way is to go and visit directly to the Zulu website, where it's possible to order these. And I'm sorry, I don't have the address here, but it's very easily located on a Google search. Yeah, and I think it's actually on the handout, yes.
Tama.
Yes, a question way over here. Sorry if I'm missing anyone. Way.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. You probably get this question a lot, but I was wondering how this film was influenced by films like Kunuk of the North, and how you feel about Flaherty and his work.
Yeah, I've been asked that. Robert Flaherty did this documentary. It's about 400 miles south to my community. Of course, he was a filmmaker in that time. Of course, he did set some scenes. I saw one particular scene where a kayak was coming with a woman in the back, and she comes off, but another woman comes up from inside. Another boy comes out holding a puppy. That's a set. So I'm really glad that he did record that culture that time, and we're doing ours further north.
Yes, gentleman in black.
Hi there. My name is Michael. You mentioned you had difficulty with the NFB and with Telefilm in terms of getting funding to shoot the film, and you went to a lot of effort to get that funding. Making independent films in Canada, in your opinion, is that an essential step to get through? And I guess I'm wondering, are there other ways that you experienced, like with your shamanism film, for example, that avoided that? Or was that through Telefilm as well?
After Atanarjuat, we have a little bit easier. It's easier for us. I'm afraid other filmmakers might run into some wall that we ran into. I wouldn't be surprised. Just because they know us now that funding is easier for us. But I'm just afraid that another Aboriginal filmmaker may have the same problem. I don't know. You tell me they're changing the system? I hope they're changing the system.
My concern is they're not changing the system in such a way that Atanarjuat would have been made. The priority at Telefilm for Canadian film, now the situation changes for documentary or TV production, but for film, the priority will all be on securing a distribution agreement in advance with a guarantee of a certain audience, and the forms that Zacharias' teams had so much difficulty filling out, right down to the bottom line, which was to determine who was the principal director. They didn't want to do that in a team arrangement. Right down to those forms. The forms are now more extensive, and Telefilm is offering no support whatsoever in filling them out to anyone. So I think that you're going to watch an era where film will become more commercial. So there will have to be a search for alternatives. Question in the center?
Hi, my name is Craig. I wanted to ask you about the oral tradition, and I'm thinking there must be a lot of elders that are passing away, and are there stories being passed on orally, or is film going to be the new mode of storytelling?
Stories are being recorded right now through audio tape. There's an elders audio project in Europe, and they're collecting stories. And we just work in this medium, making it visual. We're just trying to do our part, and guess we're not just fast enough. Yeah, we are starting to record every chance we get. Because we're going to be elders one day, and my grandson is going to come to me, how do you build an igloo? Of course I'm going to have to know how to build an igloo.
My name is Nicola. I'm a film student at SFU, and I was just wondering about the casting of the film, if it was difficult to find actors and actresses to commit to such a project. In particular, I was wondering where you found Sylvia Ivalu, who played Atanarjuat. I thought she was beautiful and absolutely perfect for the role. I was just wondering where you found characters such as that, or actors such as that.
Actors and actresses, we had the idea that we would translate this world for players all the way from Alaska to Greenland, but we had everybody in our community. Sylvia Eva, who works as a secretary in the government office, gets her holiday, and she's terrific. All the actors were from our community. After all, this story story happened in this area. These are the same people, descendants of Atanarjuat. We thought this is as close as you can get to the story.
Any other questions? Yes?
I was wondering if you're familiar with how the Australians might, if they support Aborigine programming, or if the New Zealanders support Maori programming.
This is the question about the Australian programming.
Oh yeah. Yeah, while I was in Australia, I had this terrific program, Bush Mechanics. Reminded me when we were out hunting and your skill breaks down, you tie it up and you still get home. It's a program that I really liked. I really liked that throat singer, the American blind throat singer that went to Cuba. And that's all I had one. I really loved that.
If there is a comparison, it would seem that the support for Maori programming is directly reinforced by exhibition and pretty wide distribution within Australia through SBS and other sources. And that's still, there's a disconnect in the Canadian system.
Hello, my name is Melanie, and thank you for a wonderful film, and thanks for coming. And I work here as a storyteller, and I have a number of questions in my mind about storytelling as the oral art form that it started out as, that I found beautiful in the film. I felt like you were very close to what I imagine as storytelling. And I have a story that's in my mind and that I read in a book, but I know there's many different stories in the far north and that the communities would have stories. This is about a woman who is proud, and she finally gets herself married to two men who take her away and throw her away into the sea. And she goes down to the bottom and becomes nothing but bones. And somehow, and I don't know all the details, she finds a man to play a drum to bring her back to herself. And then she plays a drum and brings him back out of his old age. And are any of those details familiar to you? Or is this a story that would come from some other part of the far north, or anything at all? Or if this is of no interest to you, I'd love to hear of any stories that are calling to you that you might approach through your film work. So there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, I knew some story like that about Setna, sea goddess, where the shamans used to go and comb her hair, because the story goes, she was married to a whale, living on an island. She was homesick, and his father came and started to take her back, and this whale found out, and he was in a rush, and because usually animals have bones, I don't know what they call it, not the ribs, but yeah, but he forgot his turn, and that's what the story goes in, and started to attack the boat, and his old man would throw him off, and she would hang on to the boat, and he would cut her fingers. So as she's drowning, every of her fingers became sea mammoths, and she lives at the bottom of the sea, She can't comb her hair. And shamans used to go and comb her hair so she would release some seals. Some story like that. I've heard something like that.
I don't know if we have a question also over here. Right, on the right, Leah and Scott.
My name is Grace. I'm wondering how threatened your language is in your community there. Is it passed along to the children? Do most people speak it there in the community? How many people are bilingual or multilingual?
In my community, Inuktitut is the first language. At home, at work, everybody speaks Inuktitut. Even when we send our children to school, the first 3 years, they'll learn Inuktitut, how to speak it, how to write it. By the 4th year, they start to learn English. And that way, we think that we capture them first, so they never forget it.
Another question, and also from an honorary Spry fellow. So, Daryl Duke, we're delighted to hear from you.
Thank you, Catherine. And Zacharias, congratulations on a marvelous film. And it is a Canadian classic. And thank you for coming down to see us and speak to us. I'm very curious. You did such a wonderful film in your community with great obstacles, with Telefilm opposing you and every other agency opposing you. I'm wondering, are other communities, are there other film efforts being made to tell stories in other communities in the North, across the North? Or is your company a pretty isolated venture? And are in other isolated areas, are those stories of their community just going to disappear? Or have you heard of other feature-length dramatic films being made? Or are you pretty well on your own?
We're pretty well on our own.
You see these agencies such as Telefilm and the need for distribution, such as Catherine was talking about, are almost obstacles to our collective content or our collective memory. They're obstacles that are going to really erase memory unless people like yourself can invigorate production across the North and rescue language and story in more communities than just your own.
Well, we're the only one in our community, and other settlements, they don't have any. They have their way of collecting these stories. To answer your second question, we gotta learn this system, how it works. We have to really learn how this system works. That's how it is. There's no other way. I don't think it's going to get easier. So we might as well learn it now. That's my only solution.
I think we have time for a few final questions. I believe there's a gentleman in the suit. And then, oh, sorry, sorry, I didn't see you.
Hi, I saw your film when I was in the United States, and the Americans around me were stunned and silent, and many people were crying. And looking at the film, I felt that it was like home. I'm wondering when this film was shown to other people that are indigenous to our Arctic and other Arctic regions. You mentioned Russia, you mentioned Norway, what did they see when they saw your film? How did they respond? Did they say? Could you share that with us?
I haven't gone to Greenland yet. Everywhere we took this film, it has the same response. Audience coming out there, they want to shake your hand, they want to thank you for making it. Everywhere we took it, it's the same.
I believe we have time for one or two more questions. Gentlemen at the back.
Yes, sir. First, congratulations on your film, and thank you very much. It's an honor to see it, an honor to be here with you. The question I have, forgive me, I write late, I've been packing for hauling all day. But I was just wondering if this question had not been asked, if you considered telling a story set more in the modern era. By that I mean, I guess, meeting with whites anytime up until the establishment of Canada. If you're working on anything like that, if anything has been done, and what sort of challenges do you think you would meet dealing with the modern day issues as opposed to issues of stories of the past?
Sometimes I really understand. I watch TV in English and listen to radio in English together at the same time. No problem. Sometimes I'm trouble understanding.
Are you shooting something in modern time? The story of modern shamanism and Christianity is coming up to the present, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So current work Mr. Kunuk is working on in shamanism and Christianity does have a historical sweep right up to modern times. I should also note that his son is trying to get the funding for a documentary about young Inuit people and their experiences currently in the North. And so it's a family thing.
Yeah, and a lot of young people are killing themselves because there's no hope. But they should realize that when you commit suicide, there's such a place that where they all go. And I've heard that they're very thirsty, still have their throats cut off, or they hang themselves, they still have that. They're like in the zombie land. We want to get the message across that before you kill yourself, where you going? Because there's no other. Because there's Inuit believed in 3 stages, below, middle, and above. And the middle one is the zombie land.
I believe, okay, one last question. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Minta, and I want to congratulate you on such a wonderful film and the way you brought your world down here. My question is, will you update your website so we can keep in touch with your projects so we don't miss any? Wherever you are in the world, we know what to look for. Because I can't wait for your
Will you update your website and keep everybody informed?
No, we try to, and we have very talented worker named Katrina, and she tries to keep our website updated.
Well, Zacharias, I would like to thank you so very much for that, and thank the audience for their wonderful questions. Clearly, we're about to adjourn. I'm going to encourage you to take a few moments if you would like to speak to Zacharias towards the end. Perhaps he has a few more minutes that he may stay with us. I would also like to encourage you, some of you who have been talking about the isolation of your work, the difficulties in finding an authentic storytelling voice in what is an extremely hostile commercial world. That feeling was very much shared by a number of filmmakers who have gathered with Zacharias. There are very few points of hope on the horizon, but there are some. And I think we need to continue to lobby. We need to lobby for public money, public funds, supporting artists with tremendous vision like Zacharias. We also need to insist our public agencies like the CBC play a dynamic role in film in this country, bringing film to us. And I would encourage you to repeat these messages to our Minister Sheila Copps repeatedly in the coming months prior to the leadership campaign. I would like to thank you all very much.